You can be my wingman anytime. Just install the MOSFET on the top, wire to the front of the PEC box. Lock it back, doesn't get caught. I got the need for speed, so let's do this. Yeah! For the XCR, basically have it wired to the front like how the stock configuration is, wired to the front. You can see the little plugs here. There's no BBs in it, shooting a safe direction. So it's a pretty sweet setup, and I like it how I'm able to pull back the charging handle. It catches, you know, there's no issue of getting caught. Sometimes even with the stock setup, with the wires, you have the plug right here at a weird angle, it will sometimes get caught, but this isn't the case. And what I did is I actually installed the Echo1 M16 MOSFET. I actually have this complete chip in the upper part where the small silicone gear stick LiPo would fit, or the wires. And let me show you how I did it real quick. Let me take it apart. And it will be tricky to weasel the little Dean's plug through here. Since I have it all soldered on, you will have to take off the outer barrel, which isn't that bad. It's just once you get the setup, then you're basically good to go. Once you take out the outer barrel, now you can weasel the Dean's plug through here. It is just enough room to go sideways. And to put it through, like for the install, like when you're all said and done, it'll take like a good 10 minutes just to weasel it through, and use like pins from the other side and tweezers. Press that in. Okay, slide it off. Okay. Basically have the MOSFET going through here. This little section. Okay. Here is the setup what I have. I just wrapped it in some plastic heat shrink. It's not super tight. I just it works fine without it. I just have this in here, so if you have the metal in here rubbing, you know, it would kind of rub on the plastic and kind of guide it, because it's like a little slope. But it worked fine without it. So I just put that in there just to prevent it from getting rubbed on when I'm racking it back. Okay, and also I have this basically loose because I have it wired to the rear. There's another video of me putting this on. And what's cool is, since it's the M16 wire harness, you have little socket plugs right here. So heaven forbids, like if this breaks or whatnot, I can just unplug this, plug in a new one, or just unsolder the points and put on a new chip if needed. It's not like tucked in or anything. And also, since I have the buffer tube and there's enough wire, I'm able to actually have it in this area, little sockets in here, wired through the tube, and then have the MOSFET unit here. And I would change the length, of course. I just want to have it up front so I can have a bigger battery, but if I wanted to change it, just unplug it, take off the upper, slide it in, you know, good to go. Let me take off the rest of it and show you how I wired it. Just gently pull on. I did leave extra red wire, because what I did is, basically out of the MOSFET package, I just got rid of that section. This was from the black wire, basically goes straight down, and this is from one of the trigger contacts. So I could have cut this wire and shortened it and everything, made it look cleaner, but I have enough that I just like, I'll leave it. There's my motor. There's another video showing how to take it off and all that. Okay, with the upper part of the gearbox removed, this is how the wiring looks. Basically it floats like so. Okay, now I can go ahead and slide the lower part of the gearbox out. And bam. The only cutting I did, because I was kind of impatient, is I rounded just a smidge right here. Doesn't affect the shell strength or anything, it's on the outer side. Basically so the wires can fit like that. Otherwise I have to like kind of weasel it, or I could have gone around or something, but I want to kind of keep it true to how it was originally stock setup, like so. So it's pretty simple, or I could have changed to a thinner wire with less insulation and made them both fit a-okay. Okay, take off the selector plate, just put that aside, and look how the wire runs down here. I did notice with the insulation, it does squish it just a smidge, but I do have extra insulation there, and I kind of have it going through here. I omitted this screw right here. Don't really need that, that's fine, and just kind of ran it down here. And then for up here, what I did is, for the stock wire harness, I did get a decent amount of arcing, not crazy or anything, but since I'm just running purely LiPo with a 160 motor, I said, and they are kind of short, so what I did is I took out the ones in the wire harness. For this I'll put the link below in the description so you can check that out at the part shop or your local store. And basically I use those contacts and put them in there so they're actually a little longer, so you get a shorter trigger pull, and that's one advantage. I put them in there. Let me show you what I did. And to install this, I basically had to take off just the 2 front screws, and I left the rest of the harness on there and the lower. I didn't have to really do anything. Pretty simple. Much easier than like that M4 I was working on for the Vanguard game. And gotta pour it out just a smidge. Okay, cool. Basically it pops out. Okay. I have the longer red wire kind of loop around just to kind of keep it how the stock wiring was, but it's pretty straightforward. Pull this up. Basically like that. I didn't even bend them yet. I could go in there and bend them if I wanted to and make it even shorter trigger response or pull time, but just drop it in, it's really good. I took the left contact, didn't have to cut it or anything, dropped it in, took the right contact from the version 2 M4 wire harness, basically put that in there. I cut off the end part, and so it kind of goes down and zigzag. Here's the remainders of it, kind of like that. I just basically cut it right there, solder it on. If you put too big of a solder glob right there, it will kind of get in the way of this, but real thin like that works fine. And that's basically how I did the MOSFET in the XCR. And I'm going to follow up this video with some other little tips and tricks I'm going to do and show you guys, and hopefully this will help you and your XCRs be the best out there on the field, just because they're badass weapons and only the cool people have them. Stay tuned for more tips and tricks. Hey guys, for this little tip, it's going to be about the reversal latch. You can use a regular version 2 reversal latch, like so. Just have to change the spring. But a little trick that I've learned, kind of like trial and error, is, for example, when you take the XCR gearbox off, since it's 2-piece, you have to make sure the piston's all the way forward. You guys might want to put like a marker or something like that to say, hey, the piston's all the way forward. This is correct. If you get the piston all the way back and you take it off, you're going to basically meshing with the piston all the way back, and it's going to cause damages or break something. So, like say if you have something happen to your gears and you can't shoot it to send the piston forward, you can take off this screw once you have the grip removed. Like say this is all inside your gun, you take off the pistol grip, of course, you take off this screw, and you can use like a small little pick, and it's kind of difficult. You'd press in here, hit the reversal latch. You know, that's kind of tricky. If you don't have a small pick with about that much length, 1.5 inches or so, you can't do it. And then where I came to the conclusion, I was like, modify, I've done this before for my AKs and everything. I actually put in a small modify reversal latch. Here's another one. Basically has a flathead on top. I don't know if you've seen these. Go ahead and check them out online. Basically, if it's locked up, it's something minor. All you have to do is turn it, like so. Watch it. I'm pushing forward. Turn it. Okay, done. So, and with that, I had to trim it just a smidge because the Modify one is a little longer. All of them, so it sits better in the gearboxes and it's more generic. But what I had to do so it fits in here is just sand with like a hand file, just barely on both ends of the post. And then, so it works fine in XCR, I actually rounded out. Let me show you. So basically, first you have to make sure it fits fine. I took off maybe 1 millimeter on each side, just barely. When you're putting in the modified version 2 reverse latch, make sure you take off the little C-clip and go ahead and use the existing spring from the stock XCR. So now, basically I can take off the pistol grip. And access this. And I had to cut the body just a smidge. I used a rat tail file and radius right here, just a little. Hopefully you can see that. And then just for extra precaution, I just took off a little bit of the finish so the reversal latch doesn't touch the inside of the body, which would cause it not to function. So I took off just a little here and radiused. Basically took a rat tail file, went like that, and done. So now I can drop this in and safely the grip on. Yeah, you can see it, but it's like, no one really cares. So you can just take off the grip, or if you wanted to be really cool, you cut the grip just a little, so then when you're done playing, you can, bam, done. I don't know, I might do that with mine, but yeah, I might as well. I'll do that with mine. Just cut the grip just a little, so now you can actually release the spring tension when you're not playing, and done. Or for easy maintenance, switch, lever, whatever you want to call it, outside. I don't know if you've noticed that when you have the selector plate slides back and forth on here, and when you tighten the screw in there, you're going to notice you hit the actual selector plate. So you can't go too deep, otherwise you can't select. And you still can't tighten too much because this screw actually press on here on the cone shape. So, but if you want it a little tighter and more secure, what you can do is actually modify the selector plate. I've done this with mine as well. Let me slide this out. Okay. Basically what I've done is I cut it right here. Because I noticed on mine when I tighten it too much and then loosen it just a little like I've done in other videos, it basically would make wear marks on the selector plate. So what I've done is looked at those wear marks and just cut it like so. So all I have to do for this is cut it. And if you have it thin right here, that's fine. All you have is this force here going back and forth in this area right here. This you can probably omit if you wanted to, but it just helps stabilize it so it doesn't wiggle. But other than that, I just did this. You don't really have to do this, but I just did this so I can tighten the screw just a smidge more, add a little Loctite, and I don't have to worry about it for a long time until I take it apart. So hope this helps you guys. Remember, this has been Brian from Echo1 USA. Thanks for watching.